We're flying south to St. Louis, Missouri, where the Missouri and Mississippi rivers meet, and catching up with our friends Sarah and Joe.
到達聖 Louis 嘅第一晚，我哋嚟到 Ted Juice 食佢哋最出名嘅 Frozen Custard。傳說話將個雪糕杯倒轉，啲雪糕都唔會跌落嚟嘅，咁我就試下啦。Oh gosh！ 我諗今晚嘅天氣太熱啦。Oh my god！Sorry。7月份嘅聖 Louis 真係幾熱㗎，所以今朝阿 Jo 就帶我哋去一個好清涼嘅地方啦。
Budweiser probably isn't the best beer in the world, but their tour possibly is. We meet in the grand foyer before heading to the introduction and tour briefing. We start off in what's either a bar or a classroom, or both. We all get earphones, goggles, and to keep, a hat. The tour takes you through the brewery complex. Many of the buildings are over 100 years old and are very ornate. In the early days, Budweiser had their own school, but you don't get schools in breweries anymore. The original name from 1872 was Anheuser-Busch. That's where the eagle originates from. Heading into one of the brewing rooms, Bud Light as it happens. Fair play to Budweiser. If you're involved, your name will be here somewhere. These beechwood chips are not for flavour. They prevent packing at the bottom of the tank so the lager circulates better. Bud Light isn't my first choice of beer, but it's not bad when it's fresh at the brewery. Cheers! Been here 30 minutes and they still don't have my name up. I don't think I'm being unrealistic. Chip beer and alpha beer. Alpha is another name for a beer. And the tour moves along. Now to the beer-free zone. These are 5-star stables. Here we'll meet some of their Clydesdale horses. These massive horses used to pull carts for deliveries. They're still used at promotional events. The leather and brass equipment is beautifully kept. The horseshoes are huge. I hope that's not a dog's dinner for a horse's breakfast. As we walk through the brewery, I find it fascinating how the modern facility is hidden amongst the classic buildings. The original school is now the Budweiser Museum. It contains everything Budweiser. Everything from the refrigerated beer wagon to the history of the Budweiser bottle, which hasn't changed much. They don't make breweries like this anymore. Giant murals, hop-shaped chandeliers and tiled walls. The guide explains the history, which is detailed and extensive. But he didn't prepare us for the historic brewhouse, which still operates in its Victorian-style Gilded Era design. Michelob, part of the Budweiser brand, which is all part of InBev. A lot of polishing and cleaning here to keep these standards. Classic view of the beer hop chandelier. Most definitely here for the beer. Entering the bottling and packing plant. This is normally very noisy, but we happen to have arrived at a quiet moment. Typical, just as we're leaving some noise and movement. Outside into the sun, but with a bus ride to the next attraction. And here's Bevo drinking his non-alcoholic malt beverage. That was sold during the Prohibition era. Crawl zone, where you go if you've had too much beer. Talking of which, we're about to do some more tasting. This beer, straight from the tank, is unfinished. It's yet to be pasteurized. It's very important to get a full glass. Personally, I think it tastes better than the finished product. And so, to finish off with a beer, or one of their other products. In fact, quite a selection available in the tasting room. Bud Light next is a low-carb beer. Low-carb, IPA and a zero alcohol. Guess which is mine? Tour complete. Are we now a cowboy and a redneck? We are looking at the flags of St. Louis, Missouri and the US of A. And while you can tour St. Louis by helicopter or carriage, we're doing it on foot.
That's a traffic sign for the pedestrians. In there somewhere.
Downtown is a variable mix of architectural styles.
So all these stores are closed. Doesn't look too bad from here. Although it is.
Where's the Wainwright building?
This isn't the Wainwright building, but it's certainly interesting.
So the park is only for outside. Inside, do they have the park?
It's inside.
Inside,
Part of it outside.
because the window looks very broken window. They intend to do that.
They're just rusty. They're not broken.
The City Museum is an offbeat discovery centre and playground, but we're moving on. We continue to explore downtown St. Louis. Being a Saturday afternoon, it's quiet. The architecture is varied, but we've still not found the Wainwright building. The Wainwright building is America's first skyscraper, and here it is, not very tall as it was the prototype. Look carefully at the side. This office is actually flat. Detail is just painted on. This one too. The balconies are real, but not the windows nor facade. Some open-air stalls. The products are nice, but I'm used to more bustle at the market.
Hello.
We found some modern sculptures. This one is flat. Cubes, I think. Definitely round. That's not right. Ah, there you go. Or as designed. Our host in pensive mood. Coming undone. What's the zip code? Rabbits. Splits. Cartoon character. Empty suit. And the pool is closed. The gateway arch. I thought this is just a concrete arch, but we will actually go inside and then to the very top. Built between 1963 and 1965, this was known as the Gateway to the West, representing America's pioneer spirit, unless you're from Kansas and called it the exit from the east. The arch is 630 feet high, and we will take a tram to the top. This is the weirdest tram I've ever ridden, but they call it a tram, so it's a tram. And a history PowerPoint while we wait. All aboard! I told you it's weird. 4 of us in our own cubicle. As we go up, inside the arch, it rotates like a gondola on a Ferris wheel. At the top, we get out. Another group of passengers are waiting to go down. And a short walk to the viewing deck. On one side you can see St. Louis. On the other, the Mississippi River and Illinois State beyond. The cars look small, but the helicopter is tiny. Group photo time with matching face masks. Time to take the tram down and let the next group in. I'm so pleased we did this. It certainly is very popular. The Gateway Arch has its own national park. At the base of the arch there is a fascinating exhibition devoted to the design and construction, which at the time was most innovative. The exhibition also looks at the exploits of the early Western explorers and the expansion into the so-called Wild West. More recently, the detrimental effects on the indigenous tribes has been recognised. Much as the interior is interesting, it's from outside that the arch is so impressive. To think we've just been to the top by tram. No trip to St. Louis would be complete without a cruise on the Mississippi River. Our paddle steamer, or paddle boat, is a modern replica, so no propulsion from the paddles and no risk of an infamous boiler explosion. We're taking the Tom Sawyer, named after the character in Mark Twain's famous novel. There's a nice breeze on the top deck, but you have to be fast to get a seat. The paddles are just for show, just as well as we'd need something larger to move this ship. The helicopter tour must be popular, as the helicopter is out flying again. As we head north on the Mississippi, we pass under several bridges. Each is a different design, reflecting the technology at the time it was built. Heading south is a freight train. St. Louis is still a major rail junction. Ashley Street Power Station. The embankment wall shows how the water level can change with the seasons. This fuel barge is carrying about 22,000 barrels of oil. The barge here is at a funny angle as they load one end first. It will level off when full. It's probably collecting wheat from the silo behind. The Stan Musial Memorial Bridge is the newest bridge on this part of the Mississippi. Although Stan Musial did serve in the Navy, he is actually famous for his baseball, playing for the St. Louis Cardinals from 1941 until 1963. Our ship has turned around and we are now heading south, downstream and back to St. Louis. The Gateway Arch is back in view, overlooking everything. More barges along the riverbank, waiting for their loads or tugboats. Power stations too. Looks like some urban renewal here. Even though we've had rain, very little water is running off into the river. And so back to the start, under the iconic arch. With the gangplank lowered, we disembark. Lots of smiling faces, obviously a good cruise. For the evening, we have a Frank Sinatra event at the Sheldon Memorial Hall. Sunday afternoon, and we're hiking in the Columbia Bottom Conservation Area, which is where the Missouri and Mississippi rivers meet. The recent rain has left it a bit muddy, but looking at the water levels on the flood marker, we've no complaints.
Looking at the flood marker, we go up here, 51, 13, and so on. 2015, not a good year, but right up the top, you probably hardly see it, is 1993. But worse than 1993 was 2019, which is off the pole.
No flooding today, and the river is peaceful. On the way back, we walk through the sunflower fields. But nature has a little surprise for us round the corner.
Don't know what it is, so don't get too close.
Yeah, it's very dark.
He's not moving. Maybe pretend to be a stick.
There we go. You take a video?
I've got a video, but it's very small.
No, I can do that.
Choose direction.
He's doing a slalom run through the weeds.
And as the common rat snake leaves us, we'll also leave you. It's goodbye from Missouri.